for a layperson such as myself the difference between product design and UX? And maybe if you're willing, we can throw their little cousin UI somewhere in there as well, if at all it's relevant to that question.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. And, it's obviously a thing that's like one of the most asked things. And I would say everyone has a different answer to this.
Interesting.
The biggest problem is that a lot of these terms are used interchangeably, right? People like, for example, UI and UX, like people say I'm a uiux designer, right? Or like in my case, like my official designation is a product designer, right? So every company, every person, like they have a different take on this. But for me, having taken a bunch of courses at Georgia Tech that sort of like dive into some of these topics a little bit more, the way that I understand these things is that UI UX is a subset of product design, right? Product design to me is like the whole experience of using a product. So like going back to that AirPods example, like it goes from like how the software interplays with the hardware, the feeling that you get of using the hardware, to like, I could even zoom out a step further and it's like, it's the experience of buying a product itself, right? Like, what is that seamless experience of like getting to that experience of like buying that thing and then opening that product, that like taking off that seal, everything is a part of it, right? So it becomes really hard for one person to be like the product designer for every step of the experience, because you can imagine so many different people and so many different like teams being a part of this whole experience, right? Mm-hmm. So that to me is like product design. It's like all of these different steps of like ideation, strategy, visual design, like prototyping an experience out, and even marketing. Like how do you market this thing and find the right amount of users for whatever you're building? But UI and UX design, it sort of stands for user interface and user experience. And people use these terms together because the user experience is about the interaction, right? Like how does this thing move and how does it sort of feel usable? Does it like feel enjoyable to the user? Is there a moment of like delight? Is there a certain animation? Like for example, I remember when you book something on Airbnb, like there is like a nice check mark and like some confetti and stuff that they throw around, and like it just feels really delightful. You feel good after using the product. And the last part of it feels like accessibility. Like there's a huge percent of the audience in this world that has like some sort of accessibility issues or impairments that we need to always keep in mind as we're designing things. So like whether it be color blindness, like low eyesight or low vision, basically there's a lot of things that you need to make sure to confirm that the thing that you're shipping or designing, especially when a company like Microsoft does something, that it works for everyone, not just like a certain subset of the audience. So that is more like user experience, but then, like user interfaces, more of like the visuals and like the spacing, the typography, the hierarchy, the colors that you're using. To me, it's like, I haven't met a lot of people who are just like UI designers anymore. Like it's sort of like a part of the job description to be good at both.
Okay.
But there are some like very specific roles where visual design really plays a big role. Like when you're someone like an illustrator, then you are pretty much a visual designer working on like making certain like brand assets that go in certain other marketing things. But from a UI UX perspective, I do think most people are considered to be like proficient in both when you're like working in the field.